This project is called Arson. We went for the location's a stuffy old university. And so I kind of wanted the air to have like a bit of a thickness to it. But at the same time, this professor is moonlighting as a hacker. So we kind of went a little bit colder with the palette. And we kind of played right in between those two worlds. Like it's like, warm, a lot of warm wood, but then the light is cold, but the light's also soft, and the air, like the atmosphere hangs a little bit. This space is pretty small, and I really wanted to have the actors to move around in the space, and I gave them a lot of freedom. We only had the location for like 6 hours, so I mapped the sun in that room at that time and did my best to really time out where it would be when I needed it. And so we literally just worked around this exact scene for the sun, so to make sure it worked. I put a little bit grip outside to soften the sun a little bit and do a little shape to it. But if I had more time, I would have rather have done some practical haze instead of relying on the diffusion filter that I use in the scene. The diffusion filter did its work, it works here and there, but there's times where I feel like the diffusion filter is a little bit too heavy. I really did my best to work with the sun on this one. I'm focusing on making the sun my ally and not my enemy. I know that's going to be a lifelong thing for me. But the more I can work on it, the better I can get at it. The more I can mask that battle that I'm having. One of the big things I love to learn, there's a very long list. But this mentorship, it'd be interesting if I could learn how to really recreate, the quality of light the sun gives, but on a soundstage when you're entirely creating it artificially. And even, another thing I'd love to learn how to do is work with translights and backdrops. I've done some subtle stuff. I've done some smaller stuff with it. I did like a moonlight scene with the translight, and I did other backlit backdrop things, but I haven't done like a really, really, supposed to be fully convincing type of backdrop, and I'd love to learn more about that. Some of my favorite ones are on Mad Men. Mad Men has some like the best background work that no one even notices. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like we notice, and you would notice, but a lot of the general audience has no idea that that's not 1960s New York outside of everyone's office. Another thing the director and I worked on with this is the framing and compositions to show how powerless and weak the professor is. In reality, the actor that plays the professor is much taller than his co-star, who plays the hacker. The co-star is very short, but we did our best to mask it and make her appear extremely powerful. Her performance is amazing. She's incredible. But her stature is sometimes, if you just did a normal two-shot of them standing, you'd be like, oh, he's like a foot taller than her. But the director did her best with blocking, and I did my best with camera heights and everything to really give her like a presence and a power. And I really hope that it conveys, there's a lot of cheated camera height and a lot of different angles, and the camera's always looking at somebody and always looking down on somebody else. It's really interesting to see how much you can convey, some story points even, and some power in just camera height in relation to subject and talent and how they play against each other. This project is called Candy Lady. The first bedroom look never really came together for me. I wanted the quality of light to be softer and also have a little bit, more directionality to it. I really wanted like a kind of something upstage that we never really got to, and I wanted something more softer but with a little more contrast, and I wanted the light to wrap a little better. I just didn't quite feel like it came out a little too frontal for me, a little too flat. The moonlight look was fun, but probably too blue. I'd likely go more subtle next time I have a moonlit scene, probably a little more neutral and not as blue. For a fun thing we did for the villain, the Candy Lady, we lit the tree behind her instead of giving her like a traditional backlight. We literally just sent a big par up into that tree that's across the street from her. I definitely want to do more lighting design like that on future projects. Kind of like, I feel like a ghost wouldn't have a backlight. I know that sounds like a weird thing to think about, but like a demon wouldn't have a backlight. We did our best to give her like a subtle glow. We didn't want her to have like an angel glow, but we wanted the lighting quality to be like cold and kind of how you might see a ghost or something, but definitely not a glowy supernatural backlight. We wanted her to feel kind of grounded, but at the same time not have like a halo of light behind her in this film. Thanks for watching.